The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is right around the corner, just a few weeks away from the announcement of Samsung's latest flagship smartphone. With all the excitement surrounding the OnePlus 13 and everything that it offers, I wanted to go ahead and talk about all the rumors of all the things that we're expected to get on the new Galaxy S25 Ultra. And I wrote them down because it's such an exciting and dynamic list. I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything. All right, let's start from the top. Rounded corners. So, of course, you've got the kind of squared off corners on the S24 Ultra, perhaps a little sharp in your hand when you're gripping it. So you have nice rounded corners now, much like the S24 Plus from this year. You're going to get that design language carried over into the S25 Ultra. 219 grams. Now, this one's a legitimate thing. This is the weight savings that I could have swore that we were going to get this year with the move to titanium for the S24 Ultra. But for some reason, there wasn't a lot of weight savings between the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, despite the move to titanium construction. So now we're actually going to get that. And that makes a difference. And let me tell you something. Just from somebody who moved last year from the regular iPhone Pro to the Pro Max for the first time, that weight difference does affect whether you buy it or not, does affect a lot of consumers when they go into carrier stores and they hold them in the hand. If it's just a massively heavy device, people kind of turned off by that, they don't get it. Same thing with the Pro Max. A lot of years, people were worried about the weight. They didn't want to carry around that brick in their pocket. So 219 grams on the Ultra is something that will make a difference. A little bit thinner as well. That's less of a concern, but it is nice that Samsung is going with a lighter device. Sensor spec bump. Now, this is important as well. You're getting 50 megapixels across the board instead of the kind of staggered way they would do it with the lower resolution or lower megapixel cameras and sensors in the telephoto lenses and the ultra wide. So it is nice to see Samsung kind of bump up the camera spec to 50 megapixels across the board. It will improve. It's horrible to see that degradation when you go into an ultra wide photo or you go into a telephoto. It's nice to have the same resolution across the board. So that is something that is a worthy upgrade. Here's the annoying part from Samsung's and while we're talking about the S25 Ultra, this really, well, it sort of affects the S25 Ultra because Samsung looks like it's going to force people to pay more again this year. We had just gotten to a place where the S20 whatever plus version was okay enough to buy, to spend $1,000 on compared to the other smartphones that you could buy. You were getting enough of the specs and enough of the performance, or you're getting all the performance, but enough of the specs and the other stuff, the creature comforts of the Ultra, where if you didn't need the extra telephoto zoom, if you didn't need the S Pen, you could feel comfortable spending significantly less and getting the S24 Plus. Well, now, Samsung seems to be wanting to do its level best to make sure that something like the enhanced armor, the glass armor, is only going to be available on the Ultra, car crash detection is only going to be available on the Ultra, and the new sensors are only going to be available on the Ultra. And this is aggravating to me. The fact that Samsung could sit there, and whatever they charge for the S25 Plus, I can already tell you it's going to be too much again. The fact that they're going to be putting the sensors from the S23, essentially, back in an S25, put it at a $1,000 price tag, and call it a day to me is ridiculous. Ridiculous. We had just gotten back to a place where people could save money again, and Samsung's like, well, why would we want that? Hold on now. Well, maybe we need to check ourselves a little bit here and understand that we want people buying the big dog. We want people buying this one, spending that, we'll talk about the price in a moment, but spending that big amount of money on this one. Why are we concerned with whether people save money or not? Annoying. Absolutely annoying. And then we're going to come to the last bit. $1,400 price increase. Base model is rumored to be $1,400. I'm hoping it's at least 256 gigabytes of storage. I mean, they got rid of that 8 gigabyte variant at least, so at least you know you're going to get 12 gigabytes. Hopefully it's 16 and 256. Because then you look across the aisle there at OnePlus, and you're going to get at least 12 or 16 gigs of RAM for $1,000 and 256 gigs of storage. You'd think for that base price tag, whatever it happens to be, rumors are about $1,000. So $400 less. And the problem for Samsung, and what I have the problem with on the S25 Ultra, and you could say, oh, you want whether, I'm being harsh on Samsung this year. Fans are harsh. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. There's no bigger critic of the Miami Dolphins right now than I am. Okay? There's no bigger critic of the New York Rangers right now than me. They stink. And there's specific reasons why they stink. But I want them to be better. That's why I'm harsh on them, and that's why I'm tough on them, because I want the things to be fixed. I want errors that I see coming down the pike to be avoided. That's why we talk about this with Samsung. Not a Samsung hater. You can go back to the beginning of the year. I gave him a pass on the design stuff. I gave him a pass on the price stuff because you still had the performance. There were plenty of people, especially with the Z Fold 6, that didn't necessarily want a wholesale departure and change. They liked the smaller form factor, liked the fact that it was more compact. I came around on the Z Flip 6 a little bit because of the compact form factor, but this is a year where that's not going to work the same way. This is a year where Samsung is going to have to address the competition and change some things, because now you're starting to see the sales soften. Before, when you were at the top and no one was even coming close, listen, I just got to close my mouth and say, you know what, congratulations. Now that's not going to be the case. Now you're going to start seeing some weaknesses in Samsung, and I would prefer the competition to stay strong. And that's why I think with something like the S25 Ultra, there's going to be some question marks. But here's where it is. You're going to have two areas of attack. If you're somebody that favors the camera, if you're somebody that favors the AI stuff on that's heavy on the Google side, if you're somebody like that who's software oriented and you like what Google's offering on the Pixel 9 series, you can get a Pixel for less money. But there are plenty of people saying, well, I need performance for that kind of price tag. I need all this. Okay, well, guess what? The OnePlus 13 is going to have the same performance as this guy. Software differences, support differences, camera differences, I don't know. The Hasselblad samples that I've seen from the OnePlus 13 so far look pretty good. So performance-wise, you could go over to OnePlus, get all that performance, gaming, high speed, everything, all the RAM you can ask for in a pretty nice form factor this year for $1,000 and save $400. So where does something like the S25 Ultra fall? Where's the value? There's no value there because you're charging top dollar. There's not necessarily a clear break from the other smartphones because you have regardless of what you prefer and regardless of what you weigh as the top reasons why you buy a smartphone, you're going to have significant and legitimate and competent competition on either end, whether it's the Pixel 9 Pro XL or the OnePlus 13. And I think that's what is worrying to me about the S24 Ultra. You're not going to get a 1-inch sensor again. You're not getting a lot of these things. And that's the other part of the argument that bugs me a lot. When we talk about the 9 Pro XL and the Pixel 9 Pro XL, reflexively in the comment section, there's always 10 comments saying, I'm paying that money, I want the best. I want the best I want the best of this. I don't care. I'm paying all that money. Well, you're not getting the best camera on the S25 Ultra. You're not getting the best battery tech on the S25 Ultra. You're not getting the best charging speeds on the S25 Ultra. So where are you? Where are you? If somebody favors the camera and gets a Pixel, you're down their throat. But when somebody's saying, you know what? I need this, this, and this on a phone, and it's not on the S25 Ultra, you'll be nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. And I don't think that's unfair. Understand there are different needs for different people in smartphones. Accept that. But when you come in at $1,400, I don't want to hear it from people saying, oh, I need the best of everything. Well, you're not getting it. You're not getting it here. So that argument goes out the window. So now the next time that we talk about a Pixel or a OnePlus that does have deficiencies in certain areas that the S25 Ultra may excel in, don't be jumping down on everybody and saying, well, it's got to be the best of the best and I'm just going to buy the best of the best because that's what this is. Not anymore. Not anymore. That gap has closed, and in some cases it doesn't even exist. So that's my difficulty with the S25 Ultra. My difficulty with the S25 Plus this year, how Samsung is going to intentionally nerf it again in order to get us to the S25 Ultra. It's just frustrating overall. It's frustrating overall to see a gap there for $400. Now, phone of the year, right? Phone of the year. So plenty of people like it. Plenty of people are going to buy it. Sure, it's going to be a fine device and no problems. But at the same time, I think we could sit here and legitimately, hand on heart, if you're being truthful with yourself, understand that while this might be a fine device, very nice, excellent, for $1,400 it better be. It better be. And there are areas where Samsung is going to need to innovate in order to keep pace with everybody else, especially when you look overseas, but not necessarily just overseas anymore. It's coming here. Coming here. Can't wait to get my hands on the OnePlus 13 and put these toe-to-toe with the S25 Ultra, because that to me is going to be a very interesting comparison this year. And just wait, it's going to happen at some point. Just ask HTC. Someone's going to come along and eat Samsung's lunch one of these days if they just keep going the way they're going. And that's coming from a fan, okay? Coming from somebody who likes the company, wants the competition, and wants to see them do well, because I still do think on their best day, they offer the best software on the Android platform. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, Happy New Year, by the way. Have the Steve-licious day.